Banco Rio Heist. This one could have been a Hollywood script. In broad daylight, armed robbers entered the Banco Rio branch in Buenos Aires. Police surrounded the building almost instantly. But inside, things weren't what they seemed. The crew wasn't planning a standoff. They were buying time. Because days before, they had dug a tunnel through the city's sewer system leading directly to the vault. While negotiators thought they were in control, the thieves were long gone, escaping underground with over $20 million in cash and valuables. When SWAT finally stormed in, all they found were unharmed hostages and a handwritten note. In a neighborhood of rich people, without weapons or grudges, it's just money, not love. It was planned with military precision, and not a single shot was fired. The Stopwatch Gang. They weren't flashy, and they didn't want headlines, but the Stopwatch Gang became legends. Known for their speed, they robbed over 140 banks across Canada and the US, always in and out in under 2 minutes. No chaos, no screaming, no weapons drawn, just calm, focused efficiency. Their nickname came from the stopwatches they used to time everything. What set them apart wasn't just their success, but their discipline. They'd scout banks for weeks, knowing the layout better than the staff. Even the authorities couldn't help but admire their consistency. They became almost mythological. Ghosts who robbed with precision, never violence. Société Générale. In the city of Nice, a man named Albert Spaghiari orchestrated what many still call the heist of the century. He and his team spent months digging a tunnel from the city's sewer system into the bank's underground vault. Over a long holiday weekend, they entered the vault and calmly spent the next 48 hours opening safety deposit boxes. They brought food, wine, and even a radio. By the time bank employees returned Monday morning, everything was gone, over $10 million worth. Spaghiari was eventually caught, but during a court appearance, he leapt from a judge's window and disappeared. He was never recaptured. Mona Lisa theft. Before it became the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa was just another masterpiece hanging in the Louvre. That changed in 1911, when a museum employee named Vincenzo Peruggia hid inside overnight. In the early morning, he slipped the painting off the wall, hid it under his coat, and walked out. His motive? He believed the painting belonged in Italy, not France. The theft triggered a media frenzy and turned the Mona Lisa into a global icon. It took over 2 years before he was caught, and when the painting was finally returned, its legend had grown tenfold. Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum Heist. On a quiet March night in Boston, 2 men dressed as police officers rang the museum's bell. The security guards, thinking it was a routine check, let them in. But within minutes, they were tied up and left in the basement. The thieves spent the next 81 minutes walking through the museum, stealing 13 pieces of priceless art, works by Vermeer, Rembrandt, and Degas, worth over $500 million. Not a single alarm went off. To this day, the stolen art has never been recovered. The empty frames still hang in the museum, silent reminders of the greatest art theft in modern history. Hatton Garden Job. It was supposed to be impossible. Hatton Garden's safe deposit facility was protected by concrete walls, alarms, and state-of-the-art security. But over Easter weekend, a group of older men, many in their 60s and 70s, pulled off a heist that stunned the world. They drilled through 2 feet of concrete, bypassed alarms, and looted over 70 safety deposit boxes. The haul? Estimated at over $20 million. The press called it the Bad Grandpa's Heist. These weren't amateurs, they were seasoned professionals coming out of retirement for one last job. And for a few days, it worked. Transylvania University Book Heist. This wasn't your typical criminal crew. 4 college students, inspired by Hollywood films, decided to steal rare books from their university library. Items worth millions. They wore disguises, used aliases, and even arranged a meeting with a rare book dealer overseas. But they made crucial mistakes. A shaky execution and a few loose ends led the FBI straight to them. It was surreal. Kids from middle-class homes pulling off an Ocean's 11-style caper only to fall apart under pressure. The story later became the basis for the true crime film American Animals. Paris Museum of Modern Art Theft. Viérin Tomic wasn't just a thief. He was an acrobat. Known as Spider-Man, he scaled walls and broke into homes like it was second nature. But his most daring act was in 2010 when he infiltrated the Paris Museum of Modern Art. Security systems were in place, but he bypassed them with ease. Inside, he took 5 paintings, including pieces by Picasso and Matisse, worth more than $100 million. No alarms, no noise, no damage. The museum didn't even realize the paintings were gone until morning. It was a silent theft that left the art world stunned.
Loomis Fargo vault robbery.
Sometimes the biggest threat is on the inside. David Gant was a trusted employee at Loomis Fargo, a cash handling facility in North Carolina, but one night he loaded $17 million into a van and drove off. The plan was simple: flee to Mexico and let his accomplices wire him money gradually. But back home, his partners couldn't keep a low profile. They started spending like lottery winners: mansions, sports cars, even plastic surgery. That drew attention fast. The FBI connected the dots, and Gant's beachside dream collapsed. Most of the money was recovered, but the tale remains a perfect case study in how greed unravels everything.
Thérèse Humbert inheritance fraud.
Unlike the others, this wasn't a heist with masks or guns. It was a long con. Thérèse Humbert convinced Parisian high society that she was the heir to an enormous American fortune. With fake documents, actors posing as lawyers, and sheer confidence, she secured loans and favors from banks and politicians alike. She lived lavishly for over 20 years. When creditors finally demanded proof of her inheritance, they opened her safe to find nothing. Just a few rocks and old newspapers. It was one of the greatest frauds of the 19th century, proving that sometimes illusion is more powerful than force.
If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps. And if you want more content like this, consider subscribing. Got an idea for what I should cover next? Drop it in the comments.